All right, boys and girls, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. Hey, from the house of Roja Parfums, we have this beauty right here, Danger. Okay, this is a beautiful fragrance, guys, but I want to be, very objective with my review of it. I've had quite a bit of time with it before I did this review. Those of you guys have seen it on my collection in the Q&As, and there's probably over 150 bottles in my collection that I haven't reviewed yet because I'm just bombarded with samples and trying stuff and, not wasting juice and all that. I'm busy, guys. That's what it comes down to. But I've acquired in the last 6 to 8 months quite a bit of Rojas. It's been interesting to see how I've navigated the house because I've smelled a ton of the house at this point. And I want to bring to your guys' attention the Parfum Cologne series because I feel like it's the most accessible to a lot of you guys who maybe don't have the finances to just be all over niche fragrances and things like that. The Parfum Cologne series from Roja, which includes, and I'll probably mess some up, but I believe it includes fragrances like Enigma, which is Creation E, Vetiver, Elysium, Scandal, Danger, and I know I'm forgetting one more. Anyway, any of the bottles that kind of have this gloss gradient, one color, big square bottle feel that, it's not the big fat chunky square bottle, it's the thin square bottle, is the Parfum Cologne series. And to my knowledge, what Roja basically did with this line is took a lot of the, because they had all of these fragrances, the Vetiver, the Scandal, the Danger, the Elysium, all of that. They had them in, I believe, eau de parfums and even parfums to some extent. But this line was created to kind of modernize and brighten and kind of bring to date a lot of those scent profiles, which were much more deeper, richer, and in some cases, I think more conservative comparatively to how a lot of scents punch in today's marketplace. So there is an original Danger, I believe even 2 renditions of it that you can get in some of the older formulations, but I think this is the most recent formulation of Danger, and it's supposed to be a prettier, kind of lighter, modern take on what they've previously done with Danger. So just to read you a couple of notes, well, actually, let's not do that. Let's do an initial impressions. I'm not going to waste juice in my bottle because I have a tester right here, so we'll leave that on the table while we spritz up. And I believe this is considered, what, aromatic fougere? Is that what we're talking? It smells fougere. Oriental fougere, which I can see that right off the bat in the air just due to the spices. Gosh, guys, this is so nice. This is kids stay away. But when you talk about the modern 2025 gentleman, this is what you want to smell like. You're aging, you're pushing towards your 30s, or you're in your 30s, or you're in your 40s, or you're in your 50s. I feel like from 30 and up, this is just timeless, masculine class. Just the richness of this fragrance. Again, Oriental fougere. It's aromatic, so with the fougere, sometimes you get the green, you get the oak moss, sometimes you get the cumarin, the lavender. I think it's bergamot top, right, for fougeres. But that's changing because now people are modernizing fougere. They're taking the top, mid, and heart, and then they're just putting a buttload of more stuff around it. But man, the Oriental fougere here is so modern and so timeless. You just get this rich, and I mean just rich blast of this kind of, I love the color for the bottle because it's not red tobacco in terms of the red tint, but it's a almost red rich cinnamon gum, the red Wrigley's gum. It's kind of like that and a rich Coca-Cola had a baby and made it more earthy and rich. It's got this, is it vanillic? Is there vanilla in here? It's a tonka bean. The tonka bean with the oak moss and the rhubarb really come out on this fragrance and kind of make almost this, again, cinnamon stick of gum, but rich syrupy Coca-Cola. Again, it's not Creation E, it's not Enigma, it's Danger, but it has that kind of red, that red oriental tint on just classiness. But this could smell like your 50 or 60-year-old, uncle or grandpa, but it's bright in the aromatics in the citrus, which there's got to be citrus here, lift it up to such a height where it can still be rich and still get this modern brush finish on it, to where I think even as a 30-year-old, you just look like a sexy man who's moving into his 30s with just pure swag and pure class. I absolutely love a fragrance like this. Guys, if you're into anything like a Prada Luna Rossa Le Parfum, the red bottle, or red tobacco, I don't want to throw Ambar Dominicana in that conversation because, quite frankly, it is way higher quality than those fragrances. I consider that way higher tier than those. So I would just say, like, to me in this category, a fragrance like Ambar Dominicana, Original Enigma, and Danger are kind of just like holy grail kind of oriental fougere. I wonder if Creation E is considered an oriental fougere. Or even Ambar Dominicana for that fact, the Coca-Cola based fragrances. But this is just a masterclass. Let me read the notes for you guys. On the top, we have lavender, lemon, bergamot, and tarragon. Middle notes, violet, jasmine, lily of the valley. Base notes, in typical Roja fashion, having 47 notes and you not knowing how much of each ingredient is even in there. But we have oak moss, cumin, vanilla. There is vanilla in there. There we go. Tonka bean, patchouli, musk, ambergris, leather, woods, cedar, vetiver, clove, rhubarb, and galbanum. That base, a lot of times you look at Fragrantica and sometimes it can just be trash. But I truly feel like you get all of that base. The oak moss, the cumarin, the vanilla, the tonka bean, the rhubarb, the patchouli, the leather. It just has this grown and sexy base to it that is just so addicting. Like, a woman encountering a man wearing this truly would feel secure, would feel at home, would feel totally safe with this guy, totally protected by this guy. This guy is aged like fine wine. He's a man's man. He's a gentleman. He's pure class. And he is just walking around with his head high because he doesn't need to compare himself to anybody. He is. And he's fully content with where he's at in his life. Man, I can just see so many circumstances for this. Super duper upscale casual. Semi-formal, I think, is where this would sit best, and even formal, but I think semi-formal might be the sweet spot. Work, suit and tie work, a collared shirt, slacks type of guy, golf instructor, financial advisor, lawyer, retiree, this is the retired guy that was a veteran, but he is just classy. An Ocean's 11 type of guy, just fanciness. It almost even has somewhat of a barbershop oriental froth of kind of how the Palo Santo beard oil works and stuff, but more of a Coca-Cola. And I hate saying Coca-Cola because it would make you think it's more on the Enigma side, and this is Danger. This is a lot more aromatic and doesn't have Coca-Cola in it. But the rhubarb and the cumin and the oak moss, they do kind of create this sweet, spicy, vanillic, just almost like a root beer finish on this. But it doesn't smell like root beer, but that spritz of root beer where it's like sweet, but it's spicy, but it's syrupy, but super aromatic and fresh take on all that. Just hugging this fragrance. We haven't even really got into any of the specifics, but I'm trying to be poetic here because this is a fragrance that you have to have. And again, the reason I'm bringing up the Parfum Cologne series is because I think typically this sits around the $200 mark retail, probably even higher. you know, typical Roja fashion. But the Parfum Cologne series on most discounters today really hovers between $150 and $200 for 100 mil. And quite frankly, I've seen fragrances like Danger and Vetiver and Enigma and Scandal and all these fragrances dip even into the 130, 120, 140 area, just depending on season, inventory, holiday, stuff like that. It can get that low where it's like the price of a Dior or a Chanel or so. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's unbelievable that you can get a Roja in your collection for under $150, 100 mil. So the Parfum Cologne series, I feel, is kind of Roja's way of getting the masses, tickling the noses of the masses into this luxury brand and letting them experience that luxury affordably. And this is just an incredible fragrance. Again, I'm probably skipping a lot of occasions. I feel like this leans easily into fall and winter with a breeze category, but I think less about the seasons. No, I take that back. Fall, winter for sure. Seasons are important here, or colder weather, to put it differently. But I think this is a vibe fragrance. This is a bravado, occasion-based fragrance. You know, going into the night, grown and sexy, work sexy, executive sexy, semi-formal sexy, just you about your business, or you with the lady would just feel, she would feel totally in good hands being with the guy that smells like this. This guy has his stuff together, he has money, but with all of that bravado, he's still cozy and sexy, and you know, you want to be this man's skin scent, if that makes sense. Like, you just want to be in his coat. Great fragrance. For me, the longevity, it ain't bad. I mean, I'm definitely getting at least 6 hours plus for me. It just depends on whether you're outdoors or indoors and how many sprays. Sprays with this, I'm going anywhere between 4 and 8. It really depends on how close I am with other people, or if I'm outside or inside. I've been able to go around 4 or 5 and just keep it G and not really think too much about it. But if I'm competing with elements and I'm going to be around all day and I know I can't spritz or anything like that, I might even push up to like 8. But that is quite aggressive for a fragrance like this. But man, it's such a bravado scent that I think you got to go up there, you know, creep to the 10 category for it. Again, we talked about price. Alternatives to this, man, like I said, you know, a Red Tobacco Intense, a Prada Luna Rosa Le Parfum, the red bottle. Yeah, I don't, let's see what Fragrantica says this fragrance reminds me of, and see if it has anything affordable. I don't imagine, looks like Alexandria makes a fragrance like this. Apparently it's very close to Heritage by Guerlain. But I mean, at this price point, I wouldn't really steer you away from this. If you are a grown man, it's a men's fragrance. If you're a grown man, if you're 25 to 30, this would be ambitious. But even if you couldn't wear it now, it's something you would aspire to wear later in life when you got your stuff together. So I'm going to comfortably say 30 and up. And I mean 30 all the way up. Because you could be a grandfather and rock this, and you would just be the most fly, coolest OG, or the grandpa that always has the dark liquor in the glass and maybe the cigar on the patio every night. And you are just cool. You know, when you come talk to grandpa, everything's going to be smooth, and he's a peace and a easy breezy kind of guy where you just feel totally secure just having a conversation with a guy like that. So I don't think it feels like a grandpa fragrance, but it's got so much bravado and swag and effortless complexity that, you know, an old guy could wear it, a younger guy could wear it, as long as you fit the bravado and the class and the occasion. I only think this could be a senior's casual, you know, if you're retired, because you're still kind of working, you know what I mean? Like you've eternally worked at that point. So it's like your casual is still almost working casual. So it makes a little bit of sense. To anybody under, I think, like, you know, 50, 55, I think you got to be on a date or at work or in the colder weather going into the evening. You got to have something going on for yourself, not just be casual with a scent like this. You'd almost be doing a little too much. But get your nose on this for sure. I think we talked about everything we need to cover for this. Definitely get your nose on it, especially being an oriental fougere. Fougere can be a challenging task for people, but I genuinely feel like the Parfum Cologne series from Roja, when it comes to niche, fougere, niche citrus, I just feel like Roja has made this very McDonald's version of super complex scents that, I say McDonald's, but that doesn't mean cheap, but they've just made complexity in the niche realm very understandable and accessible and fancy. It just feels like the Porsche of this style of oriental fougere. Very nice fragrance. I think it's a staple in a collection. If you work and you're more, again, this is the master of semi-formal, and we'll just leave it at that. Again, this was Roja Parfum's Danger Parfum Cologne version, and this is an absolute banger. You should have it in your collection, but get your nose on it first. Like, comment, subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. I drop videos all the time, and I'm going to throw one on the left and right-hand side here because I got to go, but the algorithm knows what you've been searching for, so I'm going to throw 2 videos up for you to continue rocking out with your boy, The Scent Bubble. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comment section below. Until next time, I hope y'all stay blessed and have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.